We do believe that Mr. Murdaugh is a danger. He's already, by the previous charges that he had, he's been a danger to himself. And a man who's a danger to himself is a danger to others.
Disgraced attorney Alec Murdaugh was ordered held without bond after being arrested and charged with stealing millions of dollars in insurance money from the family of his longtime housekeeper.
When a lawyer steals with a pen, it's just as bad as somebody who steals with a gun.
Gloria Satterfield died after allegedly tripping and falling over the family dogs at the Murdaugh, South Carolina home. Prosecutors say Murdaugh came up with an elaborate scheme to sue himself, then steal money from her wrongful death settlement. At the time of his arrest, Murdaugh was out on bond, facing charges that he tried to arrange his own death.
Hampton County 911, where's your emergency?
Yes, we're on South Cohasset Road, and there is a man on the side of the road with blood all over him, and he's waving his hands.
He just laying there waving his hands around?
Fine. He looks fine, but it kind of looks like a setup, so we didn't stop.
Oh, I don't blame you.
Prosecutors say it was a setup, that Murdaugh tried to get this man, Curtis Eddie Smith, to kill him, so that the Murdaugh's surviving son, Buster, could collect $10 million in life insurance. Murdaugh has been under a cloud of suspicion since his wife and another son, Paul, were found shot to death. His attorney admits his client may be guilty of financial wrongdoing, but insists Murdaugh had nothing to do with the deaths of his wife and son. He says Murdaugh called 911 after discovering their bodies in the family's hunting lodge.
I've been up to it now. It's bad.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay, and are they breathing?
No, ma'am.
Okay, and you said it's your wife and your son?
My wife and my son.
For nearly a century, the Murdaugh name has embodied a legacy of power and justice in South Carolina's Low Country. Here in the small town of Hampton, it's virtually impossible to find someone who does not know of the prominent legal family. But recently, the name has become synonymous with tragedy. At the time of his death, 22-year-old Paul Murdaugh was awaiting trial, charged with 3 felony counts of boating under the influence for a 2019 crash that killed 19-year-old Mallory Beach. According to depositions taken in that case, Paul Murdaugh illegally purchased alcohol at Parker's convenience store using his older brother's ID. Surveillance video shows him leaving the gas station, towing his father's 17-foot boat. As he exits the store, you can see him raise his arms in a triumphant gesture to his friends. After attending an oyster roast, the 6 friends headed by boat to a bar in downtown Beaufort, South Carolina. And later, Murdaugh stumbles on the dock as he and his friends return to the boat around 1 a.m. Just over an hour later, the boat slammed into a bridge piling, and Connor Cook called 911.
What bridge is it? Paul, what bridge is this? Paul, what bridge?
911, where's your emergency? Hello? Police, fire, EMS. Hello?
We're in a boat crash on Arthur Street. There's 6 of us and 1 is missing.
The body of Mallory Beach was found nearly a week later in a marsh about 5 miles from the crash scene. The charges against Paul Murdaugh were dropped after his death, but the investigation is ongoing.
I'm Vinny Politan. Thanks so much for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments. The Murdaugh family, so many layers, so many bodies, so much to talk about. But tonight, huge developments brewing in the Low Country of South Carolina. You talk about Alec Murdaugh. He's in jail with all these financial problems. He's being investigated for the death of the housekeeper. He's being investigated for and charged with crimes alleging that he's taking money from clients and all of that. But at the heart of all of this, the big one that everyone's been looking at is the death of his wife and his son. And that was the crime that started to put the spotlight on Murdaugh. And everyone started peeling back the layers about everything going on in his life and around his family. And let me tell you what's happening tonight. Alec Murdaugh expected to face charges in South Carolina for the killing of his wife and his son. State police have informed family members they plan to bring criminal charges against disgraced attorney Alec Murdaugh in the June 2021 double murder of his wife and son. This is from the Post and Courier. Agents from the state law enforcement division met with the Murdaugh family on the morning of July 12th to deliver the news as a courtesy. John Marvin Murdaugh, Alex's younger brother, told the Post and Courier. SLED did not disclose any evidence it has on Alec Murdaugh during the 30-minute meeting. His brother said the law enforcement agency plans to present its evidence to a grand jury this week and did not mention any other suspects, he said. Relatives of Alec Murdaugh's late wife, Maggie, were in the room. Big developments brewing in the Low Country. Is Alec Murdaugh now going to be charged for the murder of his wife and his son? We've got a statement tonight, Court TV got from Murdaugh's attorney, who says, "We have not been advised by anyone associated with law enforcement or the Attorney General's office that Alec will be charged with murder. I am aware that SLED advised the family that they intend to seek murder indictments from a grand jury later this week. We won't have any comment until charges are actually brought against Alec." And that's from Jim Griffin, Murdaugh's attorney. Big development tonight in this case. And obviously, we have our eyes on South Carolina this week to see what comes out of that grand jury. Right now, though, let's bring in our think tank. Joining me tonight in Atlanta, Georgia, criminal defense attorney, former federal prosecutor, law professor at Texas Southern University, Michael Sterling. In Seattle, Washington, trial attorney Ann Bremner. And in West Palm Beach, Florida, former police lieutenant and trial attorney Rick King. Welcome to you all. Michael, this is a huge development. You look at who Alec Murdaugh was, who his family was in that part of South Carolina. Prominent, very influential, almost untouchable to a certain extent. And now, Michael Sterling, here we are tonight. Alec Murdaugh could be on the brink of being indicted for the murder of his own son and his wife.
Yeah, Benny, I mean, huge development. Obviously, the financial crimes were a big deal, but financial crimes don't tend to lead to, more than 10, maybe 15 years in jail, depending on the charges. But now you're talking about, you're talking about capital cases. You're talking about being indicted for the murder of your own wife, your own children. You're talking about life in prison without the possibility of parole. You're talking about something that is far, far more serious. I mean, this is a huge development, Vinny, that the newspapers reporting that that people are being advised that they're going to seek murder indictment charges. Like that's a huge development.
It's taken a year, Ann Bremner, from the murder of, Alec Murdaugh's son, Paul, and his wife. But there were problems already. Alec Murdaugh was addicted to some drugs. He's talked about it. We've heard about that in court. Financial difficulty, all unraveling, stealing money allegedly from clients, from his law firm, all of that, completely disgraced. But then on top of it, you're talking about the execution-style murder of your own flesh and blood?
And don't you think, Vinny, in the beginning, people thought, it sounds like it might be him, and now we're like, he was. I mean, he's a one-man crime wave. It gives lawyers a bad name, of course, in a big way. But, who else would have done that? I mean, the only other person they talked about was, family members of the victim, Beach, in the boating accident. But that didn't make any sense. I mean, after all this time to come back and then to kill the son and the mother, and in the manner that they were killed, and in, the familiar way that it went down. He's astonishing as a defendant, just astonishing. I mean, this is a bombshell amongst many bombshells. There's nobody like him right now. He's just astonishing.
And Rick, I'm trying to sit here tonight and figure out Why? Right? That's the first question we always have. And you know, his world's falling apart. He's hooked on whatever these painkillers or fentanyl, whatever I don't even know what he's taking. Whatever he is, he's hooked on it. And it's driving everything around him, and his world is spinning out of control. Why, though, would you go after? Is there a reason that comes to mind as to how he would, in whatever warped sense of being he was, like any murderer is, would it make sense that, oh, things will be better for me if my wife and my son are dead?
Fiddy, you know, when at the bottom of someone's detriment or their fall, when at the bottom you find it is grounded in the abuse of drugs, it's difficult to determine what that person was thinking at that time or why they thought this particular solution was the one that they needed. I mean, here's a guy who, when he was in the beginning of this, when everyone was going through it, the community was like, how dare you accuse this man? This is an upstanding lawyer in our community. And then now when you look at it and it's all coming together and everything is unraveling and you're getting to the bottom of it, you know, it's a tragic situation. But when at the bottom it's rooted in the use of narcotics or use of drugs, you can't tell why somebody would do something. It's just that it's the thought process that they go through that like the normal person just doesn't. We don't have those connected dots in the way they connect them. And it's unfortunate for both his wife and his son that it ended in this tragic way. But to try to put it together from our perspective, I don't think we would ever be able to get there.
Well, and the reason I talk about that, Michael, is because when you talk about what happened to the housekeeper, right? Now, she died in their house. So he represented the family of his housekeeper in suing himself, really, his homeowner's policy, getting money, and then siphoning all that money. Those are the allegations. But if he took it to that next step and actually caused the death, like murdered her, so he could sue himself, so he could steal the money after representing the family, I know it's wrong, but at least it makes some sense as to why someone would do that, because he's doing it for the money. It's warped, it's sick, but there is a connection there. I don't know how that works with his son. Like, why would you execute your son?
Benny, it's a classic case. You know how lawyers, individuals always say the cover-up is worse, right? So people always say it's the cover-up that becomes worse than the actual underlying offense. Oftentimes, a cover-up is worse than the crime. It's sort of a modicum that people use. And it seems like he got caught up in a constant cover-up. One thing trying to cover the next, trying to cover the next, trying to cover the next, and it leads to this extremely slippery slope where you just keep doing worse and worse and worse things, trying to cover up the initial thing. And that's really where I see this going, right? I see a constant effort to try to cover it up. Trying to hide the money, trying to figure out how to get his son out of this incident, trying to figure out how to cover up the next thing. Maybe his wife walked in and, he was, doing something to his son. So it seems like there was this, constant effort to try to cover it up. And I think it just kept leading down a path that kept, getting him to do things that were worse and worse and worse.
That makes sense to me, Ann. If the people closest to you are going to be maybe somewhat aware of your unraveling world, and maybe he was able to hide it for a while, but maybe he couldn't hide it anymore, and his wife's realizing that he's hooked on something, all the money's disappearing, and he's committing all these crimes, and maybe, just maybe, she wants to go see a divorce attorney or something like that. And she has all this information. So,
right, you think?
To me, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what was happening. She just discovered the financial discrepancies. She was onto him. She was talking to a divorce lawyer, at least contemplating it, and now she's dead. So like Michael said, and like you said, this unraveling of lawyer Murdaugh, You know, the wife, she's the first to know. She's the last to know. She's taken out. And then his son, I mean, to what extent he knew things. He's the one in the boating accident. You know, there was a denial of coverage and part of that for Murdaugh. I mean, it's just, you know, it's death, it's insurance, and it's family. And then, of course, he hires someone to kill him, right?
Well, that was the other part, right?
That's even
Rick,
right.
This guy is capable, allegedly, of anything. I mean, he's also accused of hiring someone to attempt to kill him on the side of the road, sort of, but he wasn't successful. I mean, this is wild stuff. You can't imagine this, but I guess he felt so untouchable because of the power of that family and their ability to kind of control their own destiny and the whole legal world down there in the Low Country, that maybe he thought he could actually get away with it in some warped way, that I can get this guy to do this, to do that. They'll never think I did it.
Vinny, I'll tell you this. I'll give you he wants to kill his wife because she's going to get divorced and she knows a lot of things. I'll give you that he stole money from his clients. I'll give you that he orchestrated some sort of scheme to siphon the money, that he killed the housekeeper, and then I'll give you all that. But I challenge right now, I can't come up with a reason to kill my son. I just don't know how you do that. I don't know what reason we can come up with to do that.
Is there any way the death of his son protects assets that perhaps in a civil lawsuit the family of the victim could get if the son was alive that they wouldn't be able to get if he was dead? Is that possible? I don't know.
I don't know. I know, this is the four of us talking rationally right here. We're talking about someone whose mind was corrupted by drugs and greed and whatever. I just don't know that I can't fathom the thought of, I'm gonna kill my son so I can save this pile of money that I might or might not have over here when I'm already going to jail anyway for this money. I mean, but that's that psyche of someone whose mind is corrupted by drugs. And I don't think that I know that I can't come up with something to get me there. And that's
all right. So let's finish this up tonight. We got a lot more is going to happen this week, obviously, but tonight, okay. So I could see him perhaps cutting a deal or admitting to some of these financial crimes, siphoning money, all of that sort of stuff. Who here thinks that he will, at any point, admit to having anything to do with the death of his wife and his son, or if he is indicted, will he take it to trial? Michael, you're first.
Yeah, he'll take it to trial, Vinny. He won't admit to the murder charges of his wife and son.
And?
He's going to trial. He's a con artist. I mean, he believes in himself. At least he didn't kill himself. I mean, he's still here, right? Or had the person kill him. But yeah, he's going to trial. He's going to take it all the way.
Rick, you think so also?
Absolutely. Absolutely going to trial on this.
All right, big development still to come this week, so we are going to continue to follow this for you folks, and we'll bring you the latest as it all happens.